Hey, what's up guys? Pat here with another deck profile. This is the Wrathful Cheelai deck that I played this past weekend at PPG Anime Next National Qualifiers. I played this in teams with Eric Goodwin and Connor Wood. We ended up getting second, so just one place shy of getting the invite, which means I'm going to have to try and find an invite for Nationals somewhere else, but that's besides the point. This is a deck I've been playing for probably about close to a month and a half now, pretty much since the expansion packs cards were shown and kind of like previewed. This is something I had been testing. Dylan Ashcraft came out with a build that was very similar to this from Ellipsis, but he didn't quite get the most potential I feel like out of the cards, which is from the namesake of the deck, Wrathful Cheelai, because this deck is a control deck that is based around Wrathful Charge to get a ton of value. Basically, in terms of card advantage, you'll just out card advantage your opponent for most of the game with the namesake combo for this deck. This is a deck that is super fun. I don't know if it's the most competitive deck. It is pretty good, though, I will say. For matchups that's really good against, it's incredible against Skillless. It's pretty good against Green Brawly. On the play, it beats Victory Strike pretty much 100% of the time if they don't have Cold Bloodlust. So yeah, let's get into the deck and talk about all the cards. So leader is Cheelai and Limo. Not going to explain it because at this point you guys should already know what she does. I've been playing her for close to 2.5 months at this point, so like pretty much all my deck profiles feature her. So you already know what she does. In the main deck, 7 Dragon Balls. We don't play 1-star ball in the deck because as you guys can see down here at the bottom, we play the 2 colored cards, both SSB Gogeta and Full Power Brawly, and those come into play in rest mode. So we need to be charging these on turn 1. So we have no room for 1-star ball, even though 1-star ball has obvious synergies with what this deck is trying to do. Next up is Broly Unrealized Ambition. Since we're Cheelai on our turn, we do not take the auto where we have to take 2 life when we play this card. This is a key component of the combo in this deck, the Wrathful Charge combo. You definitely want to always stick this on turn 2. This is one of the cards that should be in your opening hand on mulligan, the other being Wrathful Charge, and then SSB, Broly, Rampaging Rush, and then either of the 2 dual color cards. That's what your opening hand should be. This should always be your turn 2 play. Just a solid 1-drop 10k beater that we can use to apply pressure in a lot of matchups early before our opponent awakens. And then obviously when it leaves play, we can choose 1 or 2 cards. If we do, we get to put a Broly that costs 4 into play. Note that because we're Cheelai and Limo, we do lose this, this life if we somehow have Broly die when it's not our turn. So if your opponent does kill this card in rest mode, you will be forced to take a life, so keep that in mind. Next up is Wrathful Charge. This is our negative choice for the deck and where the deck gets its namesake. It is a 1-cost green negate. It has counterattack if your leader is green. Negate the attack, then you may choose one of your battle cards and place it in your drop area. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it in their drop area. So the basic combo for this deck is you will play Wrathful Charge for 1. You will choose the Broly that you had previously done to sacrifice. Your opponent will then discard a card. Broly Unrealized Ambitions auto goes pending. You may take a life. If you choose to do so, you may play a 4-cost Broly from your hand. You will choose to use SSB Rampaging Rush Broly, which is this one that we play 4 of here, who has auto. When you play this card, if there is a card that is both red and green in your energy, you draw a card, then your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and places it in their drop area. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So, you'll play Broly, you'll Wrathful Charge, and then you will discard Broly. Your opponent will discard a card. Then you will play Rampaging Rush Broly. They will discard another card. You will then draw a card. Then you will KO one of your opponent's cards. Super good against a lot of decks that are trying to play aggressively. It's also really, really good against Victory Strike if they don't have Cold Bloodlust or Battering Laser in response to your Wrathful Charge. Yes, you can't negate Victory Strike's attack because his attack cannot be negated. However, you are able to activate the counter attack. Just the negate the attack portion will fizzle. You will just have essentially wasted an energy. So you will be able to use Broly's auto to put in play this Broly right here, Rampaging Rush, and just kill their Victory Strike. It's essentially Shigesh Kid Goku. So the basic combo of this deck is every time you use it, you will not only negate an attack, but your opponent will discard 2. You'll get to KO their best battle card, and you'll get to draw a card. If you resolve 2 to 3, copies of that chain, the game is just over because you've just accumulated such a huge amount of card advantage and field advantage from just being able to pay 1 energy to just get all of those effects. Like, you're paying 1 energy to get a 15k body, KO their best guy, draw a card, and discard 2 cards, and also not take a damage. That's insane. Next up is Shocking Deathball. We just play it because we need to have some kind of negate in case we end up tapping out at any point in the game. And in earlier versions we had 3 of this, but we're super extra card heavy. If you guys haven't seen from the list, I'll just pan back. We're super extra card heavy in this deck, so we can't really afford to have too many extra cards in the deck. So I felt 2 is the right number. Previous versions had 3. I could see an argument being made to play 3 charge, 3 Deathball, but you need to see charge on turn 2. It just generates way too much advantage against almost every other deck. Defending Father Paragus, that's pretty much our super combo of choice in the deck. I can see an argument being made for one of the sparking ones because regularly I usually have really high life. The only life total I'm taking is the one that I take off of Unrealized Ambition, which is usually why I snap 2 life off of it, just to kind of have that huge card advantage swing because I'm basically going +2, my opponent goes -2. So you're generating a 4 card difference. Next up is Preemptive Strike. We play this because Height of Mastery is, for the most part, pretty bad. I know I said Victory Strike is a bad matchup, but this card mitigates that matchup entirely. I actually board 2 more copies of this in best of 3, so that way the Height of Mastery / Victory Strike matchup is pretty much a non-factor. They have to waste all of their batterings because I'm pretty much, my game plan once I get to turn 1 is to once I charge this on turn 1 is pretty much to always leave Preemptive Strike open, so that way they can never resolve Path to Greatness and they have to find another way to get it on board to be able to execute their game plan. Because if we go later than them, we're just going to grind them out with the next card, which is Android 13, Agent of Destruction. This was a card that was added after me and Jose had tested this deck thoroughly against Marcus and found that we really can't beat Janemba because they mill us too quickly because we're a Wish Leader, and we are a control deck. We don't go super fast. We have the ability to do so, but we don't go as fast or as hard as something like Skillless Kid Goku or Green Broly in the early game. So we needed something in the mid to late game where we can just dump everything into it to ensure that Janemba can no longer protect their life. This is pretty much like the card that you must have in the deck to beat Janemba. The ability to just pressure with 20k criticals, and the ability to just dump all of your energy into it every turn to just make them discard anywhere between 2 and 3 cards makes the matchup actually razor thin close and gives you a chance at winning. I lost to Peter Katani in teams playing Janemba because I just couldn't stick an Android 13. I could only stick 1, and he milled my Plea for Salvations, which we'll get to in a little bit, so I could just not stabilize the game. But in the finals against Ethan, who's Eddie St. Hilaire's teammate, I was able to squeak out a win just because of this card. It's super important, and I recommend playing this card more so than just an extra like Preemptive Strike in the main board and like Demigra, which used to be in the deck. You can sideboard Demigra if you feel like you need it. But yeah, I feel like having this in a field where people are still trying to play Janemba makes it actually a competitive matchup. Whereas if you're not playing this, if you come against Janemba at all, it's pretty much just auto loss. So that's why it's in the main deck. Oob, Symbol of Hope, you're playing Cheelai. It's your Dragon Ball tutor. You're of course going to play it. A Kind Wish, again, same thing. This is particularly good in this deck because you can pressure with your leader, combo your whole board for a big combo, and then use A Kind Wish for free to get SSB Broly Rampaging Rush, and then just kind of, get more cards out of their hand and amass more card advantage, and it allows you to go into the big wombo combo that is the finisher for this deck as well for free. Plea for Salvation. Every relevant battle card in this deck except for 1 is green. So this is basically just strictly better than playing World Peace. It also allows us to stay on color if we need to charge. In Cheelai, the builds that Eggman and a lot of other people have been playing with like Height of Mastery and stuff, World Peace is the most awkward card in the deck. It just kind of sits there for like 5 turns and doesn't do anything, and you can't even charge it, so it's dead in your hand. If you draw Plea for Salvation early, you can just get rid of it. even in its lowest case scenario against a deck like Skillless, you can pick up like a Defending Father Paragus or a Broly Unrealized Ambition and also KO either an Android 8 or a Kid Goku to kind of push through for some kind of advantage. So the KOing a battle card part of it is relevant in this meta. So yeah, these are basically your two wishes. You can drop Plea for Salvation down to 2 to bump Preemptive to 3. You can even drop it down to 1 to bump Preemptive to 4 based on your meta and how many Height of Mastery decks are in your format. I've already talked at length at why SSB Rampaging Rush is good. But once you hit your opponent on turn 2 with this combo, make them discard 2 cards and draw a card, you should be in a position where, that plus all that plus the life snap, you should just be in a position where you're huge on hand advantage. And some decks, based on, how aggressive they went early or, how many cards they played in the first 2 turns, they could very realistically be at somewhere around 3 to 4 cards in hand on turn 2. And if you went first, that leads us into our other big play, which is here off of Full Power Broly, Resident Evolution. So turn 2, you stick this guy off Wrathful Charge on your opponent's turn. Turn 3, you can evolve into Full Power Broly for 3, and then flash into play SSB or SS Gogeta Acrobatic Warrior for free. This presents a 35k triple strike for Broly plus a guaranteed 1 damage. And 35k triple strike on the 3rd turn of the game is so much power that most decks, if they usually have, like I said, 4 cards in hand, they're probably not able to block it. They basically have to have the negate in hand. If they do not have the negate in hand, they almost assuredly will take 4 damage. And at that point in the game, you've basically, dealt 50 to like 75% of their life already on the 3rd turn of the game. So it basically puts them on the back foot and makes it so that their 3rd turn or 4th turn, depending on whether they went 1st or 2nd, they must answer the Gogeta Acrobatic Warrior or they're in very serious danger of dying. And I find that it makes it so that people will start to commit cards to the board and keep attacking you, or keep attacking the Gogeta, which allows you to play like Shocking Death Ball or any number of things. You basically can just like deprive them of more resources because they're already low anyway from the hand discard, and they have to spend more to get Gogeta off the board because otherwise he's just, if you untap with him, odds are you just win the game. And then Gogeta Resonant Explosion here is just for another removal piece, a 20k double striker if you can get the arrival, but largely he is just here for energy. If we ever get another red-green card, he's pretty much almost assuredly going to get cut because he's just obviously the worst card in the deck. Like, his best play is Plea for Salvation for free to KO 2 cards, both a 2-drop or less, plus him. So, yeah, so that's the basic deck. Definitely give it a try. I think it's the most fun deck I've had in a bit. I know I say that a lot. Zamasu and this are pretty much like all I've been jamming lately. And whether or not they're the best decks, I don't know, but when I see people like Peter Katani, jamming Demigra and having a blast with it and doing well, it just means like I probably should be doing something similar, even if I don't think it's the best deck in the format. Just because, I'd rather have fun and try and win while having fun than just play something that I think is mindless and not, not something I enjoy, even if it is the best. Because if you're just going through the motions, your heart's just not in it, and I just don't think you'll win anyway. That's something I kind of learned over this past weekend. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think of the deck. I'll have more deck profiles probably coming for, the foreseeable future with the anniversary box. There's a lot of cool things to brew. Definitely going to take a crack at Vados and Champa sometime in the near future. So I'll talk to you guys all later, man. Okay, bye.